Friday, and it's time for IG Live with Harman Pro India again. Today we have one of the doyens of the drumming scene in India. He's a composer, he's a music arranger, he's a classical musician, he's a fusion musician. He dons many hats. Without further ado, let's invite Mr. Ranjit Barot.
Yep.
Hello.
Hi. Sorry. Some little technical Buddha at my place. Yes.
Yeah. That's the sign of the times.
What to do? What's happening?
How are you, Ranjit?
All good?
All well.
Okay.
All
What
well.
is cooking? What's happening?
No, we just thought we'll get together and have a little chit chat with you about what you're up to, how your journey has been so far, and the scene in
Yeah.
general. And I'm sure we'll have a lot of comments and questions since
Sure.
everyone absolutely.
Sure.
So everyone knows you, everyone's heard of you, but I suppose the newer generation may not know your story. So it would be apt to begin with like a concise version of your journey so far as a musician. How did it all start? Where are you at now? What's the road ahead like? All of that.
Well, I was born into a musical family. You know, my mother was the great dancer, and so I grew up a lot with Indian classical musicians in the house, and great musicians. In fact, Zakir Bhai's father, Ustad Allah Rakha, also was a very close friend of my mother's, and he was my guru. And so I didn't know that I'd become a musician, really. My mother never forced it on me. In fact, my mother was one of those mothers who said, why don't you get a piece of paper, get a degree or something so you can be gainfully employed?
Right.
Because artists, it's a struggle, you know. Being an artist is a struggle. There's so many talented and unrecognized people still. So recognition is no validation of your abilities as an artist. You know, recognition can come to people who deserve it, and it sometimes goes to people who don't know what to do with the recognition also.
Right.
So really, it's just one thing led to another, and I think I played drums for the first time when I was about 14 or 15, 14, something like that. And as soon as I played, I just everything changed for me.
Was that the first instrument you were attracted to, or?
Yeah, it was.
Okay.
It was, yeah. And the minute I played, it's just a school kind of jam session kind of thing, and but it was very profound. The impact was very profound on me, and I think it's very important if you know at a very young age what you want to do for the rest of your life. I think that. I think that's a fantastic sort of opening. You know.
Yep, absolutely.
Because a lot of kids don't really know what they want to do for a long time.
True.
Why kids, even adults, have no idea what they really want to do. So, and I just told my mother, and my mother was very, very concerned, but she was very supportive. And then I started playing in some local bands and a couple of great bands. Waterfront was one band. None of these kids know.
Yes. Right.
Waterfront. Yeah, we just lost the guitar player. Derek Julian passed away from COVID a little while back.
I read about that, yes.
Yeah. And then I met Louis Banks. I was like 20 years old, 21, and he auditioned me for the Jazz Yatra Sextet. Then we toured Europe, and then I played with Louis for many years. And then in 1996, I met John McLaughlin, and the rest is history, basically, after that, you know. And then, of course, I've done a lot of movie scores and film scores. I had to get into music production. Really, it became a survival thing.
Okay.
But
Okay.
what happened was that I realized I'm very good at it. I had no formal education, as I don't read and write music, but I can write for an orchestra. I've understood the sort of the workings of an ensemble, and I can do that because technology allows me to express myself without having a formal education in classical music, Western classical music.
True.
And that's all I'm doing. I'm just writing music. I'm using the lockdown as a way to sort of reinvent myself on many fronts. I suppose a lot of people are doing that. And I've also discovered I'm a very good cook. I'm a very good chef. I can make very good food. I think a lot of people got into it.
Yeah,
Cooking is a lot like
absolutely.
music. No, it's a lot like music because it's like you take ingredients and it all has to sort of work together. And, it's a very joyous experience to cook. And I love it. And I make
What
some
would
great
the
food.
analogy for mastering music be when you compare it with cooking? What's the mastering stage then? Serving it, or I don't know,
Well, yeah,
garnishing
I
it?
think I think mastering is really the seasoning, the end taste.
Oh, yeah. So the
You gotta
garnishes.
taste
Yeah.
it. You gotta taste it at the end.
True. True.
Listen, everything that you do in life, music or food or whatever, all we're doing is expressing our opinion on the subject. It's our point of view.
True. True.
Music is it's much bigger than all of us, and there's so many fine musicians because I think what sets you apart from other people is your personal life story and how you bring that into the work you do. And if you're able to tell your life story through the work that you do, and that becomes your opinion on music, whether you're playing Indian classical, Western, jazz, whatever it is, but you can't borrow a life story. You can't tell somebody else's story. It's no point. People want to hear your life story.
True. But
So,
do you think that every musician at whatever level they operate, be it for themselves or for someone else, or just as a background score composer or a jingle composer or any of that, do you think every musician puts a little bit of himself or herself into whatever he's doing, he or
I
she is
think
doing
I
every
think
time?
I think that if the people that commission him don't mess around,
Hmm.
most musicians would like to express themselves and their point of view. What happens is when it becomes an overtly democratic process and you have to take a lot of opinions into account, you try and find the middle path which will please others and please yourself.
True, true, true,
And
true.
that's a challenge. Not everybody can do it. Not everybody is good at that. There's very few people who can do that. Uh, so, but yeah, most artists will want to do things the way they think it should be done.
Yeah. So
So
then
you have to
it
just
gets into the whole fight of what the client needs and what you have, what you know is right.
well,
It's like a balance.
it's the person
Yeah.
that's signing the check, basically.
Yeah.
That's all it is.
True.
That's all it is. It's the guy signing the check, and you got to listen.
How have your experiences been on that front? If you're composing a score or a piece of music for someone who knows exactly what he or she wants, or and how
Yeah.
many people have you met who've said that, hey, listen, I know nothing about this, I leave it to you.
No, no. It's an interesting point because um, the more faith that the people have in your ability to do your work, the easier it is for you to do a better job. Really.
So
Um,
true. Yeah.
yeah, I mean, and then there's people who say, well, we're paying the bills and we want to be involved in everything. We don't know much about music, but so what? We still want to be involved. And then you kind of navigate through that, and it's the same all the world over. I mean, you just have to see. Also, they're not good with words, so they don't know how
True.
to mean.
Yeah.
I'll give you a funny story. I did a jingle. I did an ad a long time back for somebody, and the brief was a very sort of London underground massive attack kind of track. And
Okay.
it worked well with the film. And we had a great time. We did it. The filmmaker loved it. The agency loved it. And then they presented it to the client. And the client came in, and he was very enthusiastic. And he said, okay, let's watch the film. So who's done the music? What's happening? So they said, well, Ranjit Barot has done the music. Oh, fantastic. He's great. Let's watch it. And they played the film. It was exactly as we had intended. It was very dark and slinky and massive attack, electronic, organic or electronic. And when the film got over, he said, I love it. See, I told you Dire Straits would work. Now,
That is.
so now you understand that if I had met the client in the beginning and he had told me Dire Straits, I would have been in a totally different territory.
Oh my, this
So,
is hilarious.
so this is a true story. Because the filmmaker called me up after. It was hilarious. So a lot of it is a lot of commissioned work is decoding what people really, really want, and what is it that they want. And I always tell people, you get paid to deal with people. You do the music for free.
I agree with you.
You
Yeah,
can't
yeah.
really put a price on the music, because
Yeah.
if you don't commission me today, tomorrow I'm still going to write music. I mean, it's not like I'm going to suddenly I don't know, build a bridge or something. I'm still going to write music. So um, you just get paid to deal with people, really.
So true, so true. In fact, that holds true in most walks of life, uh,
Yeah,
when it
yeah,
comes to
I'm sure.
profession. Yeah,
I'm
you
sure.
tolerate certain people. Yeah,
Yeah, I can see Vinayak Paul is here. Some people are here. Some friends.
a lot of people are here actually. Dipesh says hi. Dipesh Verma.
Yeah, Dipesh
Uh,
is here. I can see Vinayak Paul is here.
Amit Shaw is here.
Ah,
Atharva is here. Kushal Bharatiya is here.
oh, there. Mark is there. Hot such. I can see Mark there.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah,
I think really, I think we live in a time of very little trust. This is a big failing. We should, when you commission somebody or when you work with somebody, your emphasis should be you want to work with an expert. It's like you taking your car to the garage. You're not going to take your car to the plumber, right? You're not going to,
yeah.
you're going to take your car to the garage, right? And if the garage guy says, well, I think your transmission is shot, you're not going to tell him, well, why don't you check the steering wheel, or why don't you look at my carburetor? Because what's the point, right?
Yeah.
I mean, you've taken it to somebody, the guy's giving you an opinion. And listen, I think it's bad business sense. Forget about the
Yeah.
ego part of it.
Absolutely.
I
Yeah.
think it's bad
You're not
business
you're
sense.
paying a professional to do something he's good at, and you're not allowing him to do his best.
Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. I think it's bad business sense, really.
True.
Yeah, I mean, I've been in this business so long. There's so many funny stories. But, they've mostly, I have to say, I've been paid to cut my teeth. I learned on the job. So really, really, I was supported by every client that worked with me. And as I got better and better at what I did, it was like a paid education, really.
Yeah.
So I'm very, very grateful and fortunate at the way my life turned out. And I have great friends.
In fact, Sigmund says we get paid to engineer people. Music, we would engineer anyway every single night.
Sure, sure, yeah, yeah. It's for me. It's been a fantastic journey, and I don't want to sound I don't want it to sound like a cliche, but I feel I'm just getting started, really, because music's beginning to make a little sense to me. It's so deep and so beautiful, and because we're constantly evolving and changing, our
Yeah.
opinion on music and our interpretation and expression through music is changing all the time. So I think it's a fantastic journey to have. the arts as part of your vocation, you will never be tired or bored or frustrated or. I mean, the pandemic has been terrible for so many people. I know friends of mine abroad who are now great musicians who are driving an Uber. They're devastated. I mean, relationships have gone, jobs have gone, but they have music
People
which
have, so
keeps
many people have gone. Yeah.
people have gone, and but the music anchors you in a way. It just keeps you kind of very, very. I think maybe it's me. I personally I'm in a dream of my own making. I have my own reality really, and I tend not to get too bogged down with actual reality that's going on because I interface with it from time to time. So I'm a bit of a I live in this little world I've created, which is full of music and purpose and self growth and how can we be of service to other human beings and musicians and um, how can we grow and how can we become we should be better tomorrow than we were today in some aspect. I mean, it could be anything very small. So yeah, in a nutshell, that's my sort of journey and story a little bit. Yeah.
So when you started out, oh, by the way, Mohini is here, Gino's here. They say hi. Uh,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
there's someone
Great.
from Buenos Aires also.
Amazing. Yeah, I haven't seen anyone for so long. I mean,
Yeah.
it's ridiculous. It's ridiculous.
In
I think
fact,
that's the worst
someone
thing.
even commented that thank you for bringing Ranjit sir live.
Well, I mean, yeah, anytime. I mean, I'm just as long as I can wrap my head around the technology, I'm just a phone call or a message away. So, yeah. But thanks for having me. Thanks for having me. Yeah.
Yeah, our pleasure, Ranjit. Mohini
So,
saying she misses playing with you.
well,
Aditya
yeah, I miss playing
says
with her.
hi.
I miss playing with her. And her husband Mark is here. We haven't had a chance to play. I was going to do something at a club in the suburbs, and then the second wave hit, and we just couldn't. And um, yeah, yeah. I know there's a lot of collaborations to be done remotely and stuff, but I'm sort of old school. I can do some of that, and I am going to do a record now, which features people like Moini and Mark and. But the thrill of playing together and playing on stage, I mean,
I can imagine.
that is
Yeah.
just indescribable because we live for that, really. Um, but, also I have to thank all of you at Harman because a lot of what I do is supported by you. I mean, it's amazing how you guys, as such a large entity, have empowered so many musicians in the country. I mean, big and small. Um, it's quite something. It's quite something. And
It's our pleasure to be of help, Ranjit.
oh no, it's yeah, I know, but there's so many out there who could do more, and they should take a page from your book because it's amazing the support I've got from all of you. And we're going to release a record on June 21st. A lot of it has been tracked using using Harman equipment from the AKG mic, mixing on your speakers and recording. Very, very thankful for your support. Definitely. Is the network bugging out a bit?
Yeah. It's better now. It was buffering for a bit.
Ah,
Yeah.
okay. Okay. Yeah, if there's any questions and wants to ask, hey, Harish, what else do you want to talk about? What are we doing?
So Aditya, in fact, Aditya Prabhu from Damru, he's
Yes,
asking if you could speak about Divya, the band.
Divya. I wasn't part of that band. I was actually we started a band in Shine Meek called Ultimatum. It was with Carl Peters and Sanjay Devecha joined, and It was really, really a groundbreaking band. There was no fusion band like that in this country. It just didn't exist. And when I left, Dinshaw formed the band. Divya used to be the name of a song we used to play, actually. And then he
Oh,
formed the
okay, okay.
band with, I think, Fazal Bhai, and there was a couple of other people in that band. Fazal was there. I think Roy Venkatraman, great guitar player. And Bondo on drums, I think. You know Bondo from Goa? Do you know Bondo at all?
No, 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 no. I can't
He
say
used to
I've
play.
heard the
He
name.
used to play. He used to play. There's a guy asking, "Where do you buy your shirts?"
Shirts from.
Oh, these are
We're not gonna run
just
out of
plain,
topics for
plain
sure.
black. Nothing spectacular. Um, yeah, the '80s actually had some great musicians. There was a great sort of music movement in India at that time. You know, um, Mark is laughing. um, and I think it's sort of changed. I'll tell you when things changed in India. When Indian film heroines started having measurements like 36, 24, 36, when it gave way to the younger heroines and film started becoming glamorous, the film music really took off. And when film music took off, I think the entertainment industry in India changed. And India found a very loud ethnic Indian voice. And
Hmm.
jazz and rock and roll became even more niche, even more relegated to a very small segment of the audience, which
Right.
is natural and it's fine. Um, there's nothing wrong with that. But in the 70s and 80s, we had Jazz India, which was a great organization. It was supported by some wonderful philanthropists, mostly Parsi industrialists and businessmen who loved jazz and supported it fiercely. And we had a great set of festivals for till about the mid '80s, I think. And then it all sort of stopped. And the electronic revolution was here. Advertising took off. People started staying at home to watch TV more and more. So a lot of things changed. And I think musicians today, there's some really, really fine players. But I think they should stop looking at India as their reference point. You have to start treating the world as your reference point. You know what I mean? I mean, if your
Yeah,
band
yeah, yeah.
can your band open for Sting?
Hmm.
I mean, just simple question. Could you open for Prince or Sting or somebody like that? And if you can, then you're fine. You know, you're on the right track. But just because you have a captive market in India, it doesn't mean you should stop growing. You know, I
Yeah,
think
true, true.
the learning process has to stay intact. And a lot of people here, when they become successful, they stop learning. I think that should be something that you have to keep going. Really, yeah, it never really ends, the learning.
Yeah, true, true, true.
Yeah.
But when it comes to, I don't want to compartmentalize it into genres, but uh, was there a path in the kind of music that you were involved with? In terms of, was it classical first and then you moved on to rock and then to perhaps
No, I
some other?
started. I started. I started playing rock music first. It was all
Okay.
Led
Wow.
Zeppelin,
Okay.
Deep Purple, and the Beatles, and Rolling Stones, and it was a lot of British rock, really. And then that got peppered with bands like Steely Dan, and so I was very fortunate. I used to play with a cover band, the band that did covers, and then I used to play with Waterfront, which was an original band. We wrote all our songs,
Oh,
and I would be the drummer for both bands every night. So that means I ended up playing 4 hours every night.
wow.
Yeah,
That's,
I'd play with the people, then we take a break, and I'd play a whole gig with Waterfront. But what a great way to learn.
Absolutely. No doubt about it.
It was the best university I could have got. It was fantastic.
Did y'all
I
also do
played.
Firehouse or those kind of bands?
No, no. It was a lot of 70s, 80s rock. We did
Okay.
Jimi Hendrix. We do, we were hippies, man.
CCR and
A
all of
little
that.
bit, little bit,
Yeah.
yeah, little bit, yeah. I mean, but we were hippies, really. It was all flower power and everything that came along with it, man. So, so I had a great vocation. Actually, I think my life has been engineered. Really, I've a lot of if anybody thinks that I am somebody today, I owe it to so many people, man. My mother, the bands I played in, friends that carried me when I wasn't such a good player. I mean, I might have been a nice player, but I would learn on the job. They were patient with me. Nobody gave me grief. People like Louis Banks, you know, um, who saw something in me. And then John McLaughlin, who, when I went to him, he saw something in me that not a lot of people would have seen. It was just
Hmm.
what an amazing foresight he had of what I could become. And everything I do today on the drum set has to do with that band, really. And my other fellow members, Gary Husband and Etienne Mbappe, they're all responsible for my identity. So I really can't take a lot of credit. I mean, I put in the work, I did the hard work, but I had so much energy from so many people. And which is why I tend to try and pass that on, because I think musicians, when they're talented and they're looking for validation and looking for affirmation, they look to people they admire. And if you spend a little time and invest a kind word and give them encouragement, man, it goes such a long way in giving them some hope. And because the YouTube generation, it's like everybody's trying to be faster than everybody. Everybody's, how many likes do you have? How many,
True, true.
we have to just keep reminding them that the process of playing music is you don't play music because you can. You just play music because you have no choice. Music plays you. You have no choice. There is no choice. If you have a choice, then you're not a musician.
True,
Musicians
true.
aren't. If you're a musician, it's not the ability to play an instrument. It's a code of conduct. It's a way of life. Otherwise, you're just a player, But to be a
Yeah.
musician is to have. It's a responsibility. We're responsible for our actions and our speech, and so I'm very mindful of those things. I don't take this privilege that I have very lightly. You know what I mean?
Yeah, true.
We have to respect that. So in those terms, I'm sort of really old school. My value system is rooted from, because my mother was a classical dancer, so I saw how Indian classical musicians were. Somebody respectful
The
comes from
discipline.
the
Yeah.
discipline. You touch their feet, you sit, you learn, you speak respectfully, and yeah, it's an elegant way to live. I like that. I like that. Yeah.
That's something that still persists to this day, I think. The whole,
Oh yeah, within the classical world, it's very much it's very prevalent, and it will always be so. It's
true.
you know
True.
yeah
Where did you move on from rock? As in, I think rock was the first kind of music you
yeah.
started
So
playing.
rock, and then
And then,
waterfront was a very
right.
sort of how should I say? It's like a mix of bands like Yes, King
Oh, wow.
Crimson, um, peppered with Dylan-esque kind of lyrics, but very, very amazing musical movements, very, very neoclassical, and it was just fantastic. And
Is anything online? Can I listen to them anywhere?
no, I'll try and say I got a mail from somebody who said I have a bunch of MP3s. So if
Oh,
I get hold of
okay.
them, I'll send them to you. It was a really interesting band. And the main composer, Soli Dastur, he's still alive and well. He's one of my mentors and my gurus, man. He's just an incredible songwriter. So I'm going to redo those songs. I want people to hear them.
Oh, wow. Because you had
Yeah.
me at Yes, because Yes
Yeah,
is one of my
yes.
favorite.
Like yes, King Crimson, that sort of world, you
Yeah, them
know?
too. Right.
So
The whole progressive vibe, I think, the classic
yes,
progressive rock
yes.
kind of
And
a.
then that
Yeah.
that sort of, and he had a rehearsal pad in Jogeshwari, man, and he had a turntable and he had hundreds of vinyl records. So we'd finish rehearsals,
Wow.
and that's the first time he played me John Coltrane, he played me Russ and Roland Kirk, he played me Pharoah Sanders, he played me 11th House with Larry Coryell. He would play me uh, stuff that just wasn't available. It was like every night would be like a
A
master class
discovery.
in,
Yeah.
yeah.
Mm.
And then of course Shakti and Zappa and every night, and I would eat that
Miles.
place.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah, Miles, and so automatically I was sort of leaning towards a more jazz rock sound in my playing. And I was a natural fit for Louis Banks's Jazz Yatra Sextet because uh, I was already playing odd time signatures, and I was already sort of I'd been in an ensemble that was playing that kind of music. So, and I got to break with Louis, and that, when I toured Europe with him, that was a big eye opener. That was a big, to go abroad and see people that you admired firsthand.
Yeah.
Because, you must understand that we had no television. So there's only that much, when you learn off records, it's great also. You can learn off records and things become like, you'll hear something and you'll copy it, but you don't have a visual reference. So maybe you made up your own thing of something you heard, which is
Of trying to
great.
sound like that. Yeah. Right.
Yeah, it's great. It's like Chinese whispers, so it's come to
Right.
you and
Right.
it's become something which is also fantastic. But then to see people live and see how they were playing, and to understand how rudiments were being used, and it was a real eye opener. So I'm grateful to Louis also for that opportunity, and yeah, it was great.
Do you think that for an exponent of any instrument, is the journey like you start with a certain kind of music and then is it exclusive of the genres, or is it a journey that is fueled by, say, your increasing levels of expertise, or is it how does that work?
Well, I think I'm not quite sure. I listen. I mean, when we're with the fourth dimension in the bus, I mean, we're listening to Michael Jackson, man. We're listening to Stevie Wonder. It's not like we're listening to Miles all the time or something.
Yeah, absolutely right.
I think music there's only two kinds of music: music that's played well and music that's not played so well.
Hmm.
And I won't say bad music because it's not bad music. It's just music how other people see it. You may not like it, but it's so. I don't really see compartments. I'm still. I mean, I play with the fourth dimension, but uh, John G. often says, he says, I don't know what you're talking about, a jazz band. We're a rock band, man. I mean, we come out we come out all guns blazing. We play like a rock band. You know, it's just our vocabulary is far more uh, diverse, and it goes
Yeah,
beyond the vocabulary that exists in rock and roll. But the heart and
true.
the center and the soul is coming from the backbeat. It's coming from a very deep primal space.
Hmm. True, so true. Yeah.
Yeah. And if I have to sum everything up, man, if there's anything I want to tell kids here, man, if you're not having fun, it's no point. This is a thing of joy. You're not defined by what anyone thinks about you, and it's a very personal thing, man. Playing music is your trip. Nobody should decide what how you should do what you do. You just do it, man. And then you'll find people that like it. What are you going to do? You're going to try and please everyone? You're not going to be able to please everyone. You wake up in the morning, you look in the mirror. This is the face you have. What, are you going to change your face because somebody doesn't like your face? No, I mean, this is my face. If you don't like it, sorry, man. I mean, I got to hang out with people who like my face. And that's just like playing.
True, true, true.
We have very little time on this planet. There's no time for this, man. It's just, when I did my first album, Bada Boom, and there was great critical acclaim and people talked about it. I said, man, I'm just a kid in my sandbox. I'm just playing in my sandbox, and I got a little mud on my face, and it's in my hair, and I'm not trying to be all neat and tidy, man. I want to be in a state of joy. That's all I want to do. That's it.
So true.
If you're in a state of joy, everything makes sense. Everything makes sense. With who?
People are dying to know about your experience working with AR on the movie. You've acted in the film.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
That's the elephant in the room. We can't ignore that.
Oh, yeah. No, that was wild. I was, AR and me, we've been friends for 30 plus years now, man. I know him since he was like 19. We used to do jingles and stuff together. And,
oh, yes.
And then I was on tour, and he called me up and he says, when are you back? And I said, he said, well, I'm doing a film and you've got to act in it. I said, what? He said, yeah. And you have a very pivotal role. And in fact, you're not a nice guy in the film. So I said, okay. And I said, so why did you think of me? He says, well, you're convincing in anything you do. Everything you do, you're convincing. So I think you can do this as well. And I came back and I did the film. It was so much fun, man. And you have no idea how much fun it is being a bad guy on screen. It's great to be a villain because there's no judgment. You can be a real terrible person and say some really bad things, which you can't do in real life.
I was just about to say that.
You can't do that in real life. People get really upset. You can't do that. But on film, it was great. I was really terrible to this kid, man. In a very sophisticated way. But
was it like a whiplash interpretation, or
it's
not really?
I mean, it's the complete antithesis of who I am.
Okay.
It's like a guy who is an opportunist and uses music. He wants to use money, have no scruples and no heart invested. And that's not me, man. It's a complete antithesis to me. So it was interesting.
I was referring to the movie Whiplash, where the drumming instructor. Yeah.
Oh yeah. I mean, in a way, that guy's hardcore, man. That guy. Yeah. That's some terrible. But yeah, it's interesting. I gotta get my charger. Hang on.
Yeah, sure.
Don't run out of juice. Sorry. Here we go. Yeah.
So you worked on the score as well, and then you acted in it, and I'm sure it was. How long?
I had nothing to do with the music in '99.
Oh, nothing at all. Okay.
Nothing.
Okay.
No.
Okay.
No. I played drums on a couple of tracks. That was it, really. Yeah, I played drums on a couple of tracks and on some parts of the score.
We seem to have lost him. Yeah, there you are. Yeah.
No. I was just trying to.
No, there's a lag. I saw you, and then you heard me talk a bit later. So.
Right. So no, I didn't really work on the other material on the film. Just the acting part of it. Yeah.
Okay.
I'm
It's not a bit
working
role.
with
I mean,
AR.
you're there throughout the movie, right?
In kind of bits and pieces. I'm the girl's father, man. I'm
Oh,
this
okay,
guy
okay. I
dating
get
my
the idea.
he's dating my daughter, man. I'm all over him like a bad habit. It's like terrible. Yeah.
I can imagine now.
So and yeah, and working with AR is fantastic because not just for this film. I mean, I do all his live gigs and I do his.
Of course, yeah.
I've arranged a lot of music for him in the past. It's just we're similar in a lot of things, and we like the same things. And I love him dearly as a brother and a friend, and we have a very amazing friendship. That's first, and the work is secondary. And I'm very fortunate. Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's a great friendship, and I've learned a lot from him, especially when I was making the transition from a drummer to being a composer, arranger, producer. A lot of his work was very informative for me to understand the dynamics of composition and harmony and point, counterpoint, and arrangement and orchestration and symphonic stuff. And he's such a master. He's such a master at all these things. And I'd listen to his work and inform myself, and then I'd make my own interpretation of it. And then he'd call me and say, "Wow, man, what did you, well, that piece you did?" I said, "Yeah, but it was inspired by one of your pieces." And he said, "Well, I don't hear it." And it's so we have a great, great relationship in that sense. Yeah.
Okay. Also, I think someone was also asking, what's the first gig that you, or the first noteworthy gig that you remember that still stays with you to this day?
With me?
Yeah.
Oh no, listen.
Or
Like I
by
was
this time it's all.
No. I'm telling you, when I was 14 and the first time I played drums, I'd never played drums. I mean, I'd done like, what do like marching band. I had done something for,
Yeah.
when the school goes out to track and field and you do march, blah, blah, blah. And, but never really played a gig with like a bass player and guitar player and a singer. And no, I didn't sleep that night. It was just, I said, what happened? Something happened just now, And I was
Yeah.
14. And it was deep. It was deep. It was like I couldn't sleep, man. And the next day, I told my friend, I said, I got to get myself a drum set. Where can we find a drum set? I said, there's this shop in Dadar. And I'd take the bus and I'd go look at the drum kit, and then I'd come home. And then I got the courage to tell my mother after about a week. She said, "What are you talking about? You play drums or what? When did you start playing drums?" I said, "I mean, So I had to take my mother to the shop. I had to audition for her to show her that I could play. And the shopkeeper by then had seen my face outside the shop for the last week. And he said, "Listen, your son's been coming here, and I'll give you a discount of some 200 rupees or something." It's like,
Okay. Wow.
so, I mean, yeah. It's that was and then every time I play after that is unforgettable for me because what, you play like it's the last gig you're ever going to play. I mean, that's the only way you have to
Hmm.
play. There may not
Hmm.
be a gig tomorrow, so anything you got to say, say it now. Anything you
True,
want to
so
play on
true.
stage, play it now. Yeah, we don't know, man. Tomorrow there's a gig, no gig. I don't know. Tonight is I need to say what I need to say, and that's my philosophy. Then play
I
like
think
it's your
every
last gig.
gig that you've played at the Harman Live Arena, especially, which I've been watching
Oh.
right next to the stage, standing there, and I could feel your hits,
Yeah,
not from the
yeah.
speakers, from right there. But I mean, yeah, I know what you mean.
Commitment, just commitment. You know, that's what we have to have commitment.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And There's a lot of people
I
who
know.
agree with you. Mohini
Mm.
is saying that you've always pushed her to grow. Someone's asking
Yeah,
about Darshan Doshi.
yeah. Well, Mohini, I met Mohini when she was really little, man. She was so young, like 12 or something. And I knew then she'd be a star. I knew it then. She's a very hardworking girl, and we're all very proud of what she's doing. And Darshan too. Darshan was I think 15 or 16 when he came and started hanging out and learning. And he's also a very, very dedicated and very hardworking. And it's funny what I see in this generation is that I remember it was the Harman gig actually. There was a Harman gig where Malika sang,
Right.
my daughter
Uh,
sang,
no, she
Mohini
was
rhythm
just, yeah, right.
show,
Correct, 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 correct.
rhythm, Mohini, Malika sang a couple of tunes, Reese played sax. You guys gifted her with that microphone, I remember.
Right. You're talking about the Musafir, not the
No, no,
Musafir
no.
one, the other
It
one.
was before.
Yeah, okay, right.
I think the year before or something. And um, I just, at one point I just looked on stage and I saw my daughter, I saw Mohini, and I saw Rhythm Shaw, and okay, Reese is. The average age of the band was like 25 or something. And the reason I say this is because I feel that I've been very fortunate to spend time with younger people who have something to say. And I think, a lot of older musicians don't have faith in the youth. I think they're making a big mistake if they're not hanging out with people who are young, and because this generation is wired differently. Their brains
Yeah,
are wired differently,
true, true.
and I think if you don't have something to learn from them, you're missing a big part of your life. Uh, there's no shame and there's no ego when it comes to uh, interacting and exchanging ideas and information and energy and life force. I'm happy to be inspired by anybody. I don't have hang-ups, and I don't ever think that, oh, I've arrived and I know. I don't know anything, man. I mean, what do you know? But we don't know anything. I mean, music and life, it's too intense. I mean, look at what we're going through now with this pandemic. Nobody saw it coming, you know, and
True.
how are you going to deal with it? I've written more songs last year than I've written when I was busy, and because I got a time to sit back, I just wrote a bunch of tunes, just a lot of songs. So, and I've had time to introspect, and I've had time to. I have many people living inside me. It's not one persona. I have the drummer, I have the English singer-songwriter, I have the Hindi guy, I have the arranger producer, so sometimes I have to dedicate time to each one of these people because they're all very demanding. Everyone, all these people I have in my head want everything and they want it now. They want it fast and they want it good, and everything has to be world class. And you know, so I'm constantly trying to outdo myself. But this time has been great for that. I mean, I miss playing, but musically, it's been fantastic for me. Yeah.
Manju Drum says, so much respect to this man, the great Ranjit sir, and such a big blessing
Oh,
and inspiration for
Manju.
all of us. Indeed.
Yes, Manju. Yes,
Mohini
Mohini.
says you have to release those pop songs.
They're coming. 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 They're all coming. June 21st is the Hindi lot is being released, and I'm working on the English stuff will take a little time because
Okay.
there's many people playing on it. There's people abroad, and Gary Husband is playing drums on one of my
Oh,
tunes which
wow.
I'm singing. So yeah, it's a big
Okay.
collaboration. Yeah, yeah,
That's great.
um,
We're
yeah.
really looking forward to that.
Yeah,
Are you
yeah.
going to be? You're obviously releasing it on all the platforms, right? Amazon Music and Apple
Everything,
Music
everything,
and
everything,
okay,
everything. Yeah, yeah.
okay. That's lovely to hear. Actually, looking forward to that.
Yes.
In fact, I enjoyed a lot of your elemental stuff also.
Yeah, that
That you
has to be
played.
developed. That has to be developed a little more. That has to be
Yeah,
developed. Yeah, yeah.
everyone. Yeah.
Vinayak Paul is telling me write a book. I think
That's a
he's
good
told me
idea.
that before. He's told me that before. Yeah, I mean, well, somebody else has to write it. I can just sit back and do blah blah blah, and somebody has to make sense of
Hey, these are the pointers. Now flesh it out.
it. Yeah. Oh man.
On that note, I think I've taken up enough of your time, your
No, no
valuable time.
problem. It's a pleasure.
Thank you so much for joining us and having this conversation today, Ranjit.
No, it's
I'm
my
sure everyone
pleasure.
who's
I'm very happy to be here. And uh, see, Mark is saying you need to have a talk
you
show.
need to have
Mark,
a
I
talk
wanted
show.
to have a talk show. I wanted to have a talk show with like a kick-ass band with a horn section and everything. And I really, really did.
Maybe a show where the band doesn't let you talk. Something they keep playing.
Well, I mean, in the sense, like all the big talk shows, like Jimmy
Yeah,
Fallon
yeah,
or
yeah,
whatever,
yeah. Absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah, I'd love to do that. It's not impossible. I've been approached, and let's see, maybe when things clear up, I could do something. I don't know, you know. But no, I'm happy to be here. Thank you for calling me, and I'm very,
Our
very,
pleasure.
very, very proud to be associated with you guys, and I'm very thankful for all your support. Always, always. I mean, musicians need support, big or small, and you guys are just absolutely amazing. Happy to be here anytime you want me to, man, on any
Our
platform.
pleasure, Ranjit.
Yes, yeah.
Absolutely.
And
For
thank you
sure.
all for watching, everyone, whoever's here. My love and blessings to you all. I mean, I don't need to tell you, stay safe. This is a weird one, this double mutant. In fact, I caught it. I caught it last month. Me and my daughter both caught it. And we were so careful, but it's
It creeps up. Yeah, yeah,
it's very, very, how you say, it's so infectious. It's very
yeah.
volatile. So really, 2 masks. Be very careful and just stay safe. Stay safe, everyone.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Stay safe, everyone.
Yes.
Thank you so much for joining us, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you again, Ranjit.
Thanks, Harish. God bless you
Thank
all,
you.
and we'll
Take
talk
care.
anytime you want.
Sure. Take
Bye.
care. Bye.